Hi guys, and welcome to part 2 of the resurrection of my 1987 Tomos AT50 motorcycle. Part 1 was filmed in 2019, and where we left off I'd got it running and riding but wasn't very good at riding it. Now I can ride it and it's road legal, so there are a few things to finish off from the last video, so here's how I fixed them. So the first thing you may notice is that the tank has gone from silver to silver and blue, and here's why. I found some pinholes from where the tank and seat had been touching and moisture had collected there. That was the holes after I'd widened them with a screwdriver. So I asked my friend Mike if he could recommend a decent sealer that I could seal them with, some sort of epoxy, and he said, why don't you send it over to me and I'll fix the tank for you. Now I was expecting him to sort of, you know, weld the pinhole shut or weld a plate over it, but he's done a really fantastic job. I'm so impressed with it. He didn't have any silver paint that matched, so he sprayed it in blue just to keep the rust off, and actually I quite like it. I will eventually, when I can get a replacement sticker set, I will probably get the tank professionally resprayed or ask Mike to do it again. But yeah, he's done an amazing job. Hats off to you, Mike. So the next problem was that this new viewing window in the side of the tank revealed more rust inside than I previously thought. That, coupled with the fact that the new welds on the tank would be more susceptible to being rotted by the E10 fuel that we've now got, Mike recommended that I seal the tank with an epoxy sealer. I chose this one, Wagner, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's designed to be able to cope with 100% ethanol fuel. So in that case, I figured it would be a safe bet for my tank. Now this is the rust converter stage you can see here, which is also, it etches into the metal. You can see it frothing up around the neck, and then I dried it with a hairdryer. This is the before and here is the after, so you can see it's cleared up the rust quite well. Now once it was dry, I did the tank sealer, and I'm quite pleased with the results on this. It seems to be alright so far. I'm planning on making a more comprehensive video on it after I've tested it for a while and see how it holds up, but for now I'm quite impressed. The old tyres were dry rotted, so I replaced them with these Metzler branded ones and then attempted to fix the indicators. AT50 indicators just fitted, let's test them. Okay, front stays on. Try that one. They don't really do much flashing when you're revving. All goes to the front. So my original suspicion about the erratic lighting situation is that it was caused by the fact that I used the existing wiring, which I had no idea what condition it was in, but it was just there, so I used it. However, thinking about it, Tomos indicators are quite weird because the direct AC ignition and lighting circuit doesn't produce enough power to effectively light the indicators both at once. So if you indicate left or right, it alternates between the front and rear on that side that flash. Quite weird. But because of this, it means it's got a slightly more complicated than usual flasher unit, and since the flasher relay I believe is the original one, I thought I'd try that from a different bike, swap it out, and it worked fine. This is the glorious AT50 on its way, just about to set off for its MOT. Can't wait. Let's go. So I mentioned earlier that I took the wheels off to replace the tyres, and I did test the wheel bearings at the time by seeing if the wheels span freely on the axles, and they were completely fine. So I wasn't entirely expecting it to fail its MOT purely on wheel bearings. They were apparently actually quite bad. It was possible to shake the wheel side to side more than you should be able to, more than in the tolerance. So the next step was to very quickly try and get the wheel bearings changed ready for a retest so I could ride it to work later that week. Okay, so I've redone the front wheel bearings with these 6201 bearings, 2RS, which is rubber shielded to keep the muck out. The rear ones though are the loose style. So I'm going to be cleaning that out and repacking them. So first job is pick the ball bearings out, which I've put in this tray. So the first job is to put the bearings in to soak in some brake cleaner. It's 11 balls per side. I'm reusing the old ones. Let's give them a good clean out. I could have probably got away with just tightening up the cone nuts. I'd rather do it properly, you know what I mean? So, let's wipe some of the gack out of here. Yeah, this grease is past it. Weirdly, all the grease had come out of the front bearings as well, and that was terrible. It was all sort of milky, light brown, horrific grease. I'm going to squirt some brake cleaner in here. And then a Q-tip is quite a good way of getting all the remaining gack out from inside that lip there. Get as much out as possible. If there's any muck left in there, it will basically, as the ball bearings go around and around, it will gall them and pit them, and then in turn they'll gall and pit the mating surface, or the running surface, and basically it just all ends up being a nightmare. So to me that surface looks clean now, so we'll go on to the other one. Be careful doing that. I've just cut my finger on the this guard here. Dust guard. Let's see if I've got any more Q-tips. This one doesn't seem as bad inside, really. Yeah, you can see where all the grease is. I cleaned these wheels when I did the tyres, and you can see it's all, every spoke's covered in grease again now. Right, I think that's it. So the next step, we need some grease. Waterproof is the way to go. This specifically says it's 4-wheel bearings, so even better. A generous smidge of it. All the way around. I'm trying to wipe it on the inside lip. That's probably enough. And now the fun part, sticking the bearings in. Actually, before I start, wipe it round so it's a nice even layer in there. Aim of the game is to not lose them. seat them in again. Alright, now with this being the brake side, I need a fresh rag and a bit of brake cleaner.
Put these ball bearings in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stick this out with more grease on it. 9, 10, 11. Cool.
Okay, right. So, well, finished with the grease. I'll tidy up a bit. Get the old rag first. Clean the axle off. I'll move that out of the way. Clean the axle off as best we can. Right, this grease is horrible as well. It's on here. So it'll do us good to get rid of that. Lovely. Right, now gloves off, blood covered finger. First of all, let's spray down the brakes. Nice clean rag. Any grease off there. Could do with greasing actually, but I'll do that in a minute. I'll take some of the excess grease out of here because I think I've overpacked it a little bit. There we go. And then spray the brake linings. Try not to get it on the paint on the outside of the wheel because I don't know if it'll strip it off or not. Pretty volatile stuff. Okay, so I'm going to, now that's done, get a cotton bud, get the grease back out, and need a bit of grease on that pivot point there, either side, where it rubs against the shoe faces. Can't see, on that pivot point there, and if I can get some in there that'd be great. I'm not going to take the shoes out and faff about. Get a bit in there. It's another case of don't overpack it, because you definitely don't want any grease in the brake drums themselves. But the pivot points love it. Cool. Alright, I'll wipe that off that bit. We're about ready to reassemble. So, axle through there, being Careful not to knock any ball bearings out. There's your excess grease on the end of it. So we'll pull that off. Cone nuts. That axle's in the wrong way around. No, that is right. My bad. Okay. Another wipe. Cone nuts. Right. That is running freely. It's not running that freely, to be fair. I think we might need new bearings, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Will do for now, I think. Well, it'll have to, because the MOT's day after tomorrow, and I'm at work tomorrow. Right, we'll tighten it up a little bit. I might even do a seal bearing conversion in future. In fact, that's probably where I'd prefer to go, because these are endless. But only do what you've got at the time. I don't want to start pulling bearing cups and then finding out I need to shim them to put bearings in. So after this, I replaced the rear wheel and chain and took it for its MOT 2 days later. It passed with flying colours and joined my commuter pool of 3 Tomoses that I frequently ride to work when it's not raining. I'll do videos on the other 2 coming up soon. There are a couple of things with it. I haven't given the rear bearings any more attention yet, but I'm hoping to replace them for sealed bearings, which I'll be making a video on if I do it. There's also the speedo cable needs replacing and a couple of other little things, so you might get a video out of this in the future. But basically it's been a reliable little beast so far, and I'll leave you with some footage of me riding it around.